Hi there, this is Carol Matz, and welcome to Module 1 of my course for teachers who want to compose. Now, I've often been asked about my process composing, and over the past several years, I spent a lot of time putting together information and tips and strategies so that teachers can learn how to compose for their students or even self-publish their own compositions. Now, I've got lots of ways to help you tap into your creativity and give you insight into creating pedagogically sound piano pieces that students are going to have fun playing and that you'll have fun writing. Now, obviously, when you're writing for students, you'll need to learn a bit about the various educational levels, such as, late, elementary, or early intermediate, and so forth, so that you can really understand what concepts and skills might be included for students at that stage of their musical development. So we're going to be delving into the needs of students at various levels and how to best write for each of these. Now, the course is divided into 3 modules with a total of 45 lessons. And for those who purchase the bundle that includes the arranging course, that's an additional 7 long lessons for a total of 52 lessons. So each lesson can be done in about a week, depending on how much time you spend. And that would be 1 lesson a week for a year of composition study. Now, alternatively, you can go at your own pace, maybe moving slower to write additional pieces. It's totally up to you. Now, I do recommend that you go through the material in order, no matter how fast or slow you decide is a comfortable pace for you. Now, the first of the 4 modules is all about developing melodies. At the beginning lessons, we're going to cover the various educational levels in piano, from early elementary through intermediate. Then we'll get a deeper understanding of crafting memorable melodies, writing with patterns, using variation, all kinds of compositional tools to give your pieces interest and contrast and balance. You'll learn about melodic contour, delve into various pieces that examine a bunch of different tools to develop your melodies. We'll talk about writing with patterns and how they help students learn pieces. We'll explore all different kinds of stylistic left-hand accompaniment patterns. And we'll go through some compositional tools that help us get variation. Tools like pattern and sequence, retrograde, melodic inversion, rhythmic variation, and more, as well as talking about how to make your compositions unique and appropriate for each educational level. There's even a lesson on how to write lyrics for elementary level pieces if that's something that interests you, and I hope it is. Okay, now the composition assignments, in addition to these instructional videos, each lesson has a composition assignment with lots of prompts to help you along the way. You can see here just a couple of samples that I decided to show. We've got composing with Dorian, composing with 7th chord voicings, ABA form, compose an etude with varied articulation, write a ragtime piece using pattern and sequence. So these are just some of the composition exercises so you can get an idea for how that's going to go. Then the writing exercises, these are to help you practice applying your new knowledge and really get those creative juices flowing. You're going to write familiar left-hand patterns, writing chords within modes, secondary dominants, and so forth. You'll also get an in-depth full set of notation pages. These are going to go over things you don't know and things that you know as a review, but it's very important that you go over all of these different notation pages so that you're properly beaming eighth notes, properly notating graphic pedal markings, It'll show you how to capitalize, punctuate, and hyphenate your lyrics, all that nitty gritty stuff. And then this is super cool. This is something that I'm very passionate about. I really wanted to include these creativity workouts and inspirations. So the creativity pages are really to stimulate and improve your creative thinking through using word association and making connections, telling a story, and all sorts of really interesting things. I think you're going to find these creativity workouts to be super fun. And now here's a little bonus just for fun. For each week, or each lesson, I should say, you have a new phone wallpaper that you can download, each one inspiring you to think creatively. And many of them have some inspiring quotes to get you thinking and creating, keeping it at the front of your mind as you move through the days to observe, to think creatively in everyday life, everyday things. Even if it's like a new way to arrange your coffee mugs to save space, which I desperately need to do, or dreaming up a clever way to get your significant other to do stuff around the house. So we really want to keep creativity at the forefront of our minds. Plus, there are lots of other downloadable materials that you will have lifetime access to, along with all of the lessons. These are helpful charts for notation, common chord voicings, progressions, and so forth. So you'll have all of that reference material at your fingertips. And then in Module 2, you're going to learn about writing with modes to create some really fresh sounding compositions for any level. And I really like to do modes in this second module because it gives you an opportunity to really exercise and use all of the skills that you learned in crafting your melodies in Module 1. You can use that with a modal piece and not have to worry so much about harmony, which will be upcoming. So working with modes is a great way to really put to use all of the things that you've learned so far as you learn about modes. And then in Module 3, you're going to get in-depth practical education on harmony, not a bunch of academic mumbo jumbo that you can't use. This is practical. This is going to get you to understand everything, including various types of chords from pop, rock, jazz harmony, blues, all sorts of things. I'm really excited to teach you jazz harmony, since it's something that I really enjoy and something that I studied for many years. But I'd like you to learn it in an easy to understand way that can be immediately used in compositions for intermediate students, all the way up to very advanced levels if you wish. And for those who purchase the bundle along with the arranging course, you're going to have 7 lessons that are covering arrangement levels, how to distribute various elements, talk about adaptation, how to make things really work on the piano. We'll talk about texture, keeping a thinner texture for students. We'll go over a whole bunch of ways that you can voice your chords. You can arrange the notes within your chords. We'll talk about capturing the essence of any particular piece that you're wishing to arrange, and we'll get into a little bit of pop and rock form as well. Now, I really wanted to share with you my philosophy behind teaching creativity, along with composition techniques and notation. I personally think that composition can be approached as a science and as an art. If you use your analytical side to jumpstart or stimulate your creative side. You're probably familiar with that whole left brain, right brain thing, the 2 hemispheres of your brain. Current researchers actually think that most brain activities aren't really confined to something as simple as left or right, but rather we use our whole brain to do various parts of activities. But either way, it's really easy to think of your left brain as your analytical side and your right brain as your creative side. So think about this. We all have an analytical side that allows us just to function every day in society, to plan, to evaluate. We can use that ability to stimulate creative ideas. We like to think of creativity as a music thing or an art thing, but there actually is an incredible amount of creativity that goes into problem solving in engineering or theoretical physics. Einstein was very creative. There are creative engineers, creative architects, and so forth. So it's the thinking that's creative, no matter the product, whether it's a law of physics, an oil painting, or a beautiful composition. So I'll spend lots of time throughout the course emphasizing ways to help you think more creatively.